So I was thinking the other day, and I don't know how original this idea will be, but we've got several Conan films. We've got the Schwarzenegger, obviously, movies that are, at least the first one's very well regarded, and the second I think has mixed feelings. And then the more recent one I think is mostly just kind of forgotten. I think it's like fine or whatever.
It's fine.
I've not seen it.
The Momoa version.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Which that's cool, and I get
it should have been great.
I get the vision of Momoa as Conan, but
it's like Khal Drogo,
yeah, absolutely. But I was thinking, and we've talked a bit about ideas for someone if you were going to do a modern Conan, but the thing I was struck by was I had this idea of Robert Eggers doing Lord of the Rings, and I realized that Robert Eggers should do a Conan film.
God, yes.
Because he's doing Nosferatu, but and that Henry Cavill should be Conan. I think we've mentioned this, but also two things. Henry Cavill actually has black hair.
Yep.
The other two Conans have been brown hair, and they're brown-eyed. Because Schwarzenegger's brown-eyed, isn't he?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't paid attention to his eyes.
And it's not that.
I've stared long and deeply into those eyes.
And the thing is, I think people think of Conan as like overly grumpy and like that's the vision of him we get a lot of times, and that's a part of it.
And Cavill's like an appropriate amount of grumpy.
But Cavill can do it. And honestly, with Cavill, we have a guy who's willing to do franchise films, willing to do like goofy, campy IP, and
can get there as far as physical
condition, and is like, I remember we talked a bit about if we were doing a Conan, who would we cast. I don't remember Cavill, and we bring up Cavill's name all the time.
He didn't come up.
But it was revealed to me. I was like, this is the answer, and I want to see an Eggers, like really nitty gritty, not over. I mean, yes, realistic, but weird magic mythologies. Like I'm trying to manifest this into existence. A Cavill, because Cavill is like a nerd's nerd. So like, I don't know if he's got what his relationship is to the Conan books.
But
I would guess he likes them.
He's doing Highlander. He's doing Highlander right now.
Oh,
so
really?
like he absolutely would do Conan.
So that's kind of too on the nose now. Then
no, I'm all for it. I mean, I think it fits in his oeuvre. I think it like you said, he's a nerd's nerd. So
yeah,
but yes, let's manifest this out into the universe.
But also, I think
Northman style.
Yes,
Eggers film.
Northman style Eggers Conan. But also, I think Cavill and Eggers would do Conan without chopping his balls off too.
Yep, absolutely.
And he would be like almost, you don't feel good about it, but it's awesome still.
Yeah, it's
like uncomfortable how macho and ridiculous it is.
It's a throwback to misogyny. It'll be great.
Well, that's one way to put it.
That's kind of what I was getting at. They'd throw it back real. They'd be real sweet about it in a misogynistic.
Welcome to the Undertowers.
Welcome to Undertowers. Hello, Michael Vannon. This is Undertowers, your library for all things nerdy, specifically sci-fi, fantasy, especially books. I'm Steven.
I'm Daniel.
Sam.
Speak, friend, and enter. We've got a great episode for you tonight. We're kind of starting off a series of episodes that are going to kind of loosely be based around our kind of wrapping up our book club's series on sword and sorcery / heroic fantasy. Yes. And so we're going to be talking and have a fun little bit for you on that tonight. But first, as always, some news. We got a few things we're going to get through pretty quick here. The first thing is that a new Hellboy movie apparently is coming out.
Oh.
I had not heard anything about it, and then a trailer dropped for it. It's Hellboy, the Crooked Man. It's co-written at least by Mike Mignola himself, the creator and artist. Is Perlman
still in it?
No. It's all new cast. It's directed by Brian Taylor, who did Crank back in the day, which was a fun film.
Back when
I'm gonna be honest.
Was cool.
I'm gonna be honest for a second, and this is not new. Everybody's saying this, so this is not a hot take at all.
Oh, okay.
But the trailer looks like a fan film, frankly, in large part. Not all of it, and also you can't just go off of a trailer. There's some other cool things that about it that really caught my eye, but it definitely is very fan film looking. But it is also set out in the middle of rural Appalachia, not in the big city. And it's much smaller feeling story, and very kind of folk horror look, and like an actual horror film too.
Backwoodsy maybe?
Well, not like redneck backwoodsy, more like kind of like Appalachian Wicker Man kind of thing, with more
scary.
Satan in it.
Yeah.
So folk horror, which I love folk horror. So I'm definitely I love folk horror. I love Hellboy. So I'm very interested. I think that the first Hellboy movie, I remember going and seeing that with my dad in the theaters, and I think that was the first what you would consider horror film that I ever saw, and I absolutely adore both of those movies. So bummed that we can't get the third in that trilogy, but I'm excited for another Hellboy movie. Next thing, we have another thing I hadn't heard of. Developer Arctic Hazard has announced their new game Norse, which is a turn-based strategy game set in Viking Age Norway. Obviously, because it's a Viking story, it's about vengeance. But the strategy elements, it's vengeance while you're building settlements and managing communities and forging alliances / breaking alliances and
I was gonna say like
raiding and all of that fun stuff.
Doesn't seem very Viking-y.
Well, the fun thing is that, and I noticed this even before I read into it, just from watching the trailer, is that they are seeming to put a considerable amount of effort into a certain amount of historical accuracy.
Nice.
It does feel more Northman, second time mentioning Northman, but it feels more Northman than Vikings, the History Channel show.
Gotcha.
Even down to little things like, no, I didn't see any leather wrist bracers or not a whole bunch of tattoos, which is cool as there are. There's not a whole lot of historical references for that.
But you can like really spend some hours farming sheep. In it.
Well, that's like that kind of resource management is going to be part of it. Yeah. You also then get to like, as part of the settlement management, there's all the like law enforcement things too, like passing judgment and settling disputes, dispensing punishment and rewards. And then you get to recruit your own war band to take into turn-based battles. And they specifically mention the Viking martial art Glima. So that's cool. Again, they seem to be putting a lot of effort into historical accuracy, which is awesome. And the trailer is out, and it's not like pre-rendered graphics for the trailer. They're just showing the alpha footage, and it looks good. It looks great for alpha footage. It looks great. So I'm very interested to see more. It's currently coming for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. And then finally, the piece of news that I am the absolute most excited about. Monolith Games, who I believe we've mentioned a few weeks ago, they are a miniatures board game company. They announced the official Berserk board game. In a post on their Instagram, they wrote, in partnership with Hakasensha, I'm sure I mispronounced that. Apologies. We have the great honor of announcing that we are working on the development of Berserk, the miniature board game based on the works of Kentaro Miura. This privilege pushes our team to offer you the best and most beautiful gaming experience possible, so we've decided to offer you a brand new game system dedicated to this classic manga series. Accessible, rich, and intuitive. We can't wait to tell you more. So there's not a whole lot of extra information yet, but they did confirm in that statement that it is a miniatures board game, so there will be a lot of really sick miniatures. Monolith makes absolutely gorgeous minis that look more like wargaming minis than board game meeples.
Yeah. I knew there was a reason I wore the Berserk shirt today.
Yeah, hell yeah, nice. But they also confirmed there that it is based on the manga too, so it's presumably going to go through the whole story and not just going through
blocking the shirt.
The Golden Age arc, like the anime.
Gotcha.
So that I can't wait to hear more. We'll talk about it more as more stuff comes up, as they start posting pictures and everything, because I am very excited about it. It will probably be slightly too expensive Kickstarter that I will absolutely be going all in on.
Well, I mean, one of our episodes, we should just play like a full game.
That would be
There you
awesome.
go.
Yep. Hit us up, Monolith.
Yes.
So on to our first topic. Before we get into our fun little sword and sorcery bit here, we've been having some conversations amongst ourselves, but also just kind of observing some broader conversations going on in the booktube, book, internet world on the subject of the length of books, whether really long books, really long series are good or bad or what have you. I know my feeling is very definitely kind of in the middle about that, but we've read all total in our sci-fi fantasy or our sword and sorcery / heroic fantasy series, we've read 9 different series, and all of them have been pretty dramatically different lengths. We've read everything from very short stories to novellas to novels that are just long enough to be called novels to 700 plus page books. Right now we're wrapping up Faithful in the Fallen, which each of those books is 600 or 700 pages, and there's 4 of them.
Right. Yep.
So I thought it would be a good time to kind of discuss what I like to think of as page count versus pacing, which I think is the major issue. So, before we get started, do you guys, after all the reading that we've done, on top of the reading that you've done previous, do you find that you have a preferred length, either in page count number or number of books in a series? Because both of those are kind of on the table for discussion.
Yeah. So, I was actually talking to my wife about this earlier tonight, knowing we were maybe going to talk about it a little bit, but although I don't think I was thinking about that at the time. But on the one hand, the story should be as long as it is or needs to be, and that can obviously vary greatly in length. So on the one hand, too short doesn't really exist, and too long doesn't really exist. That being said, especially through this series, I have realized that I really love a 250 to 400 page story. Mm-hmm. And there is it's probably something to do with being older and having either less time or wanting something that's just razor focused on exactly what it wants to say. But I've really come to appreciate something with a certain brevity and a certain certain focus in what it's doing, and not doing something as sprawling as some stories are. And we've talked a few times. There's a lot of great series being written these days, in most specifically in the epic fantasy world, but also some in science fiction, where they're really long books and then really long. There's many of them. I feel kind of I like a 3-book series. I mean, that's probably coming from Lord of the Rings. Obviously, you've got your Harry Potter 7-book series, and that can be fine. But I like the 3-ish book, and then I'm feeling really great in that 4-ish 100-page range. It just feels like the sweet spot where you've got enough time to do it. And again, it depends on the story. Some things need to be longer than that, but yeah. But I have this feeling that a lot of at least more recent writing, and obviously we've got there's great works of fiction like Moby Dick, which Moby Dick is insanely long. Right. There's a lot of Russian giants that wrote just insanely long novels that even when you read them now, it's they're going on about grass cutting and how to harvest wheat and stuff, which is kind of cool that they did.
They're writing in a beautiful way.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, somebody's got to learn that too.
They're also writing in a time. Oh yeah, no, for sure. But they're also writing in a time where there wasn't much else to do. So that's reading a really long novel was it's kind of a thing, which is still, there's a lot of value in it. But the point I was really trying to make was I feel like some writing these days subtracts really insightful, quick, not quick. I mean, insightful, developed characters that you care about quickly. We're substituting doing that for just time spent with the characters, hoping that by spending a lot of time with them, you'll care for them. and that you'll develop feelings. I feel like that's just more common where where like the authors are like worried that if you don't spend a lot of time with them, you're not going to be invested, and that it comes across to me sometimes that or I worry that it's an author who's maybe not as confident in what they're doing, so that they feel like time is a good substitute for just like showing you and telling you who someone is and letting you and then trusting the reader to be invested. That also being said, there are I think there's also a market demand for really long books and long series. So like some of it is just a natural progression, and that the industry is full of these, like a lot of people, like especially a younger audience with a lot of like time on their hands. They like, you know, they want to spend a lot of times reading something and be really invested deeply in something, which there's nothing wrong with that. So that's my kind of feeling on the issue.
Yeah. I've got thought. I thought Steve was going to talk next.
No, go for it, Sam. No, go for
He
it.
kind of invited us to share.
Well, I don't know. As you're talking, I've been thinking about this a little bit too. I think the obvious thing we would agree on is that the story has to like kind of just tell itself. But when I think of page length and all that, I do prefer a shorter story. But then I come up with the pain I think everyone in America, or in the world, America for sure, I guess anybody that watched HBO and saw Game of Thrones really didn't like how they tied things up super duper quick.
Right, sure.
In a real kind of asshole way to tell the rest of that story. Quick, very nice, like it ended so soon. And then I think of shows like Breaking Bad, which ended perfectly with only 5 seasons. And then I think about books and Tolkien's, obviously magnificent, perfect Lord of the Rings. It's not that long compared to a lot of
when you see a lot of the modern books,
it's not that long.
It was long at the time.
But I just think about creating things and, John Gwynne writing these really, really long books. And I feel like I go back to their first day. And I'm like trying to put myself in their shoes of them writing their first pages, literally not knowing if the story is going to be anything to anyone, and just kind of like going for it in their own right, and then getting to the end and being like, yeah, it's done. But I feel like that, it's done, sort of a finished sort of mentality is where you don't really know what the story is even going to be to other people, because from their perspective, it's like this is complete. Which is why I think it comes with the deft hand, a masterful writer like Gene Wolfe is able to finish and kind of almost tell what his demographic is going to be after he's done writing it. And I kind of think Tolkien might have been the same way, but maybe that's because they just took a long time before they said it's done.
Well, funnily enough, in the
sort of thing
in the appendix,
but I also want to get on with my life too. I don't want to. I don't want to wait till I'm like 70. If I was a writer, I'm like, I'm gonna write this one thing until I'm literally 75, and then publish it, and then then I hear people be like, "Oh, it's too long." Like, damn it, I tried really hard.
I know, right?
So it's like, I don't know.
On that point, though, Tolkien actually himself said he thought Lord of the Rings was too short. He wished it was longer, which is kind of interesting. And I think he said that was like his only regret, was that he hadn't put more into it, and that he thought there could have been more into it. Obviously, it's phenomenal, but I did think that was interesting. But
I think, like I mentioned at the top, I'm very. I don't mean this to sound wishy-washy, but I am very kind of in the middle of what I like and dislike as far as length and size of series goes. So like I've mentioned on the podcast before, I'm starting to write my first novel, but I have written 8 feature-length scripts. They've not gone anywhere, but I've written 8, and a couple of them were actually pretty decent. There's a book that I read when I was starting to write, I think my 3rd. So this was a little bit after I had graduated from film school, called Save the Cat, which is a pretty ubiquitous book amongst writers, especially screenwriters. And it's, I tell people now at this stage, after I've written a few things, that it's one of those books that you should kind of read do it once, as it says, like write one script the way that the book says, and then forget it as much as you can.
Sure.
Because it is all about your script should be 90 pages long.
Right.
A film script is 1 minute per page.
Right.
And this page is where this story beat needs to happen.
Right.
This page is where this story beat needs to happen. And this page is where this story beat needs to happen. And it's very formulaic like that. And it's supposedly a winning formula that you can track out with lots of, big blockbuster films. But the truth is, you look at a lot of the best movies that are made, and it's not going to follow that exact format.
Sure.
So it's good structurally to kind of keep in mind.
Right.
But it's one of those things that you should also then kind of forget as soon as you're starting to really write something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Once you've kind of got it into your fingers. The reason that I am saying that is I don't think that there is one correct answer. And that's kind of why my opinion sounds a little wishy-washy. I think it's purely based on the story that's being told. And it's also why I don't really ever listen, honestly, when anybody is telling me that a book is too long or too short. Until I've read it myself, because I've found myself disagreeing on that so many times. I've had people, we've all heard the people talking about Lord of the Rings being too long. Obviously loved Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
The other big one that I remember coming up a lot was, Feast for Crows, the fourth book in Song of Ice and Fire. People talking about how long that book was and how much it drove them crazy, and all of the just pages and pages of descriptions of food. And I'm sitting here, having grown up reading Redwall books, where it's like chapter after chapter of Brian Jakes describing these sumptuous feasts, and I'm sitting here reading Feast for Crows and thinking, I don't get it. I'm enjoying myself.
Nice.
So like the personal preference, and I don't know. It felt correct for me with that story at that time. Maybe I'd feel differently on a reread. I don't know.
I mean, I was part of the crowd that thought it was too long or felt like it was too long.
Sure, and I get it. I understand, but it didn't feel that way for me.
Yeah,
no,
it's
great.
great.
I think that's actually so interesting.
I will say that I do think too short as a criticism is always better than too long.
Well, probably, I don't know if I would say
almost always.
Probably.
Sometimes,
almost always.
Because usually like too short is like
a hungry audience.
Oh man, and then it's a book you want to reread where you're like, I just wanted to live in this world more. I wanted to hear more about this or that. But it's usually because the story is so compelling that you want to be there. Sometimes you do have a story that's too short because they literally did not develop or execute the thing well.
Game of Thrones.
Like, wow,
exactly.
Well, no,
because that's too short. Like I'm angry at that.
That's a TV show, and obviously there's not a good. I can't think of a good example of a book.
Okay.
Well, I can.
Okay.
That's a good
here's another thing.
Conan,
just on the Game of Thrones.
That's fair.
On the Game of Thrones thing, I do hate. I hate a novel that's too long and doesn't finish itself. Like,
well, and that means sure, yeah.
And that's why I throw Game of Thrones in, because
that's not
that finishes the story.
The finishing part though
Right?
isn't the fault of the story. That's the fault of George R. R. Martin.
Yeah.
And
but
like,
that's kind of
fingers
what we're
crossed,
talking
that's
about.
another news thing that everybody's probably heard of at this point. Maybe Winds of Winter is done.
Okay.
For the
We'll
sixth,
see.
the sixth
We'll see.
time he's.
But anyways,
I do think the interesting thing with Game of Thrones is that Game of Thrones has a structural issue that keeps it long because of the way he wrote it with all the viewpoint characters. There is not a way to speed up story.
Yeah.
You cannot yada yada anything, which actually yada yadaing is a really powerful tool in a writer's back pocket.
Sure. Well, and it's
to critique. I'm not trying to critique George R. R. Martin because people give him a really hard time.
Well, and frankly, like everybody has to be honest. Like, it is one of the greatest fantasy series ever written.
Yeah.
And I think, but it's what you said in combination of his writing style.
Yeah.
It's the because I mean, John Gwynne in Faithful and the Fallen has almost as many viewpoint characters as any singular Game of Thrones book. Not quite as many, but approaching that. And he was writing, one of these a year, essentially.
Right.
But he was, I believe, approaching it from the angle of the planned out, writing an outline and knowing where the story was going and ending. Whereas George R. R. Martin famously is that Gardner type of writer where he's not making it up as he goes along. I think he has the idea. I mean, obviously, we know how it was supposed to end, whether he changes that or not at this point.
Yeah.
But he had an ending, but it's how it gets to that is not planned out. And that is, like you said, that's very difficult when you've got to tie all of these loose ends together. Wheel of Time.
Right.
I read, I believe, the first 6 books.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I stopped at book 6 or if I got through book 6. But so I believe I essentially got to the slump.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to cast judgment because I haven't finished it. But the reason why I remember stopping, I was young. So my attention span was perhaps not what it is now. But I was just getting frustrated because the story was going nowhere. So that to me is when it's an indication that something is running too long. If the story is just going nowhere, if nothing is happening, it's too long.
Well, and I think, yeah, I wonder with the, am I interrupting the rest of your
No. That's, I mean, just that, also that's a 14-book series.
Right.
So if we're talking about length of series as well as like just page count, because they're also all huge books, perhaps.
Yeah.
And again, I haven't finished the series, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it couldn't. But maybe you could have cut 3 books out and not have a slump.
Right.
And gotten straight back into the main story that ends apparently very well.
I totally agree. Well, when you've got like 14,000 page 800 to 1,000 page books, it's like, okay, like there are stories with a lot in them. It just like that kind of beggars belief for me, to be honest. But I think if and this is maybe just the way I feel, if stories are tending to be longer than they should be more often these days, I think it's probably because we don't have an outlet for short stories, and there's a lot of novels that should be short stories. And because there's no outlet, there's like this idea, this is like 30 pages of a concept that, and it's like a really, really great concept that's really, really great over 30 pages, but you can't get it published. So then you're like, well, let's add to it, and let's add to it, and let's add to it, and the things that get added to it.
So you think the problem's the market here?
I do a lot of, I think a lot of it's the market.
For sure.
And I think because
it's like you mentioned, there was a time when reading was kind of the thing. Maybe you could listen to the radio if you had a radio in your house, but if you could read, then reading was what you had access to. And so, grabbing, a copy of Weird Tales and sitting down and reading a series of short stories is probably equivalent to, what we do now of sitting down and watching a few episodes of whatever show.
No, that's exactly what it was.
And that just because we have, an overabundance of shows and podcasts. Enjoy.
Yes. Yeah.
There's if I feel like anymore, if people are sitting down to read, they're sitting down to read a book instead of these shorter form things.
And I don't remember if some of this I've mentioned in private, and some of this I've talked briefly about, but I am really falling back in love with the short story format. I've been reading one of Gene Wolfe's short story collections, A Wolf at the Door. I've been reading. I'm reading through a couple of Skylar Herstrom's, who's a awesome indie author and that's kind of up and coming. But he's got some short stories that are literally 4 or 5 pages that feel complete, and it's really nice to be able to read a story in like 5 to 10 minutes or whatever, and then you're like, wow, that actually was like really thought-provoking and interesting. And then, but also he's got some that are like 40, 50 pages that you can sit with over a few short sessions or in one decent sitting. And it is like that, watching an episode of a TV show, but in novel form, obviously, or not novel form, but in, it's literature. And he's doing some really cool things, harkening back to this sort of Conan style.
I was going to say those were my favorite of the Conan stories were the ones that were shorter. Like Tower of the Elephant is a very short awesome story. The Phoenix on the Sword is very, very short, and they absolutely hooked me into that world.
But like, I could totally see an author or excuse me, a publisher nowadays making Howard turn those into novels, and then maybe he would like glom on some of his other ideas, but then again, instead of this like basically perfect story that he writes that he wrote that again is in that like 15 to 30 pages.
Right.
Like you've got this like awkward clunky novel, because even the novel he wrote is I think like 150. It's still pretty short.
Yeah, it was like right on that cusp of like what it is, like the novel. It was like right at the cusp between novella and novel, and it was phenomenal.
But no, it really is excellent. But so I wish and I hope that I'm going to be seeking out more short stories, both old and new, and I hope we as a reading audience can. I hope authors are able to express themselves that way. I sent it to you guys earlier, but I read today Harrison Bergeron because somebody was posting about it, so I just I read it on a whim. It's a really well-regarded, awesome story, and it is very short, and it gets exactly the idea that it wants out. This like goofy, hyper equality based society. It's fantastic. You could do more in the story. I don't know, unless he wanted to talk about other things. You couldn't get more out of the story by making it 15 times as long.
We read a lot of short stories.
We did
in high school in my mom's literature class, and some of those like Hearts of Darkness, Most Dangerous Game.
Anything
really,
by Jack London?
Yeah, what was that one? Shoot the Matchstick, I think was what it's called.
Yeah. Or the Campfire? What was it?
It was. I'm gonna have to look it up.
I mean, this is
but it
way back.
Yeah, where he's lost in the woods, and
I feel like it's called the Campfire or the Fire, something like that. It could be the Matchstick too, but yeah, he's just trying to start a fire. To build a fire.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Phenomenal. So short.
Yeah.
And so compelling and just gut wrenching, devastating at the end.
So scary.
That's kind of so. I love those.
Yeah.
I love short stories, and I'm so glad that we've gotten back into them with the sword and sorcery genre, because it has for me as well. It reignited that love of that shorter form content. I also love a well written, long epic series as long as it earns the length.
Yes.
I think that there's a place for both. I think that there's the place for the David Gemmell style heroic fantasy books that are, they're short, sweet, they're super fast paced, and telling a rather epic story in, a short paperback format. That kind of, I know he was very heavily influenced by Louis L'Amour and that, those kind of pulp Western novels that he wrote. So I like all of it. I just want it, whatever the story is, I want to read that story at the appropriate length. Whether it's page count, whether that's number of books in a series, I want the author to be able to tell the story as it should be told. And, I want that from the publishing side for him or her to be able to publish it. But I also want her to, follow and trust instincts as to how long the story should be, even if that means killing your darlings a little bit and cutting ruthlessly.
No, absolutely.
To get there.
Or and adding where it's like, hey, you did not dive into this enough. We need to do that more. That's where you hope authors have the right editors and or readers by their side before the publishing time to help them get both ruthlessly remove the lulls and the things that the author's interested in that the story is not actually speaking too well, or the digging into things that are like, okay, this needs, you need to talk about this more.
Yeah.
Whether that's just,
I wish Moorcock had some more editors like that around him.
Yeah. And honestly, what's funny with Moorcock is he's all over the place. There are some of his stories that feel like they could be longer. Mm-hmm. He really just like breezed by some things, and there's some that are like painstakingly way too long.
But also
way too
that's
long. And I know
that's an interesting pacing thing though, where that's kind of where it becomes pacing to me. Where sometimes it felt with some of his stories that the page count was like exactly correct.
Yeah,
the pacing was
was so off because he was maybe concentrating on things that he shouldn't have been concentrating on, and you're spending 5 or 10 pages over here in this weird conversation that doesn't mean anything, instead of spending that 5 to 10 pages over here on this other thing that, oh man, that's really cool. I would love that to be explored more. And then it, kind of falls to the wayside.
Yeah,
It
I
is
think I love the short story thing, and I've loved reading short stories. But I even remember when we first, because I didn't know anything about Conan when we were like, we're reading Conan. I was like, all right. So I read the first thing, and I was like, oh, wait, it's over after that. And then the character kind of still stays, and then he just does something else in this next one.
Yeah.
So I like that. But one thing that I'm kind of craving almost is that there would be a short story, sort of story told, but with a through story through it.
That's kind of what was fun about the first 2 Witcher books.
Anime does that already.
Sure.
But I'm thinking what if,
But like Last Wish
Witcher.
and sort of Destiny.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're all short stories, but there's, a couple and an increasing number as you're getting closer to the main story. But there's short stories that are complete in and of themselves,
Right.
that lead to and speak to the greater story.
Yeah.
It's like you could technically read them out of order if you wanted to, but there are certain story aspects that there is a through
thread.
story.
Yeah.
No, I felt the same way as we worked through this series when we were in the ones that were short story based, which was mostly. I didn't feel this way as much with Witcher because they seemed to be the way those stories were first published for the most part. I think was as those books, so it makes it a little different. I think, but when we were working through,
they were. I think he wrote them in that order, but the way that they got published here in America and translated into English was funky.
Oh, okay.
Whereas, I believe that Last Wish was published first.
Oh yeah.
But then they went straight into the main storyline, and Sword of Destiny got
published
after the main story was done.
Yeah, but I meant they weren't published individually at any point, as far as I'm aware.
Okay. Yes. No. I believe the whole time they were. It was a collection. It wasn't like magazine.
Because Conan was published in magazines and then collected many different times. Elric was published in magazines and then collected and then repackaged several different times, a few of them officially. Fafhrd was done the same way, where these stories were written and then, I believe, based loosely chronologically, sort of.
Fafhrd
was smattered together for his series.
This is actually an important. I'm pause for just a second. I meant to say this in a previous episode when we were talking about Howard. If you're wanting to get into reading Conan, just buy the Del Rey books.
Yeah.
This is the first one, Coming of Conan the Barbarian. Buy these editions. It's public domain, so there's a lot of versions that you can buy. They're going to be chock full of spelling errors and all sorts of bullshit. And then there's also versions that are based on, I can't remember the fella's name, but there was a guy that took it in the 1970s, I believe, and published it in chronological order, not in order of being written, and added to the stories to make them fit better. Don't do it. No, just read these, because the Del Rey editions have all of the stories together as Robert E. Howard wrote them. And there's also a bunch of fun stuff that they add in at the end too, with drafts and letters and things.
Great little extras. But and you see a lot more of the development of the Conan character, seeing the order in which he wrote them.
Yes.
And honestly, I wish that's the way the Elric books were published as well.
I wish that too. Desperately.
Because when it's chronologically written, the character has develops a lot over time, but in the wrong way.
It feels
it's very
weird.
Strange. But sort of what I was saying though was I loved this series. I did feel sometimes that it was tiresome to read so many short stories in a row. But what I loved was imagining reading them spread out, and I'm going to revisit a lot of these because that's the way they were read. You didn't. I mean, a lot of people read a bunch of Conans all at once, so that's.
But you didn't read every single Conan.
No, you didn't read them in a month. We didn't read 2 months. It's like you read one, you waited, and you read one another week or another month or so or whatever. So which like that's the way. To say it was meant to be read like that is maybe overstating it, but that's the way it was intended.
It's how it literally came out.
Well,
so it's how it was the only way you could read it unless you were, catching up.
Yep.
So, any other final thoughts on this topic? Again, for me, it purely depends on what kind of story you're trying to tell. There's a correct page count. There's a correct number of books for every story that is told, and I just want to read that.
Yeah.
And if it's really well written, like if the words are beautiful, then I can also handle it being too short or too long.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my feeling. I don't agree with an extreme position on either side.
No.
I like the epic stuff.
Yeah.
I like the short stuff a lot, and I like the things that enable you to read multiple books a month or at a time. They're all peachy to me.
No, I basically agree, but I do overall feel like when in doubt, shorter than longer is kind of my rule of thumb. And what's funny is, like, in a sentence, less words is not always better than more. There's a right amount. It's if you remove words just to make things more concise, you're always winning. But that when evaluating two options and you're able to relay the information, my general feeling is less is more, but the right amount is the right amount.
Yeah. I think that I want you to write it to where I don't know what's coming. And I feel like a lot of times if you faff on about stuff, it makes it easier to guess. But if you go too fast, then you just ruin the reveal and it's like not fun anymore. So
That's an interesting
for me,
way of
I'm like,
looking at
write
it.
it
I like
to
that.
where I don't know what's going to happen. And again, not to mention Gene Wolfe again, but I love it because he tells you what's going to happen right in the very first pages. And then you forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He kind of just plays on the dumbness of humanity, I think.
Great discussion, guys. And now
Indeed.
we're on to our fun section here for Sword and Sorcery / Heroic Fantasy. We are returning to building a fellowship to take the ring to Mordor.
Yes.
However, rather than building it from other Lord of the Rings characters like we did the first time around, we are building our fellowships from characters from the Sword and Sorcery and Heroic Fantasy books that we have read this year.
Indeed.
So Elrond has the ring, the One Ring in Rivendell, and
Frodo has dipped.
Frodo has pieced out.
Frodo is
and
doing what he should have done. Just
Elrond-
chilled in the Shire.
Elrond has, in a very Moorcockian fashion, he has opened the multiverse and summoned heroes from all corners to take the ring to Mordor.
Somehow, Elrond summoned everyone.
So we're going to draft together our heroes, our fellowship. We're going to be using as a template for our fellowship, rather than just the 9. We're going to be using a base format from the Brothers Gwyn on YouTube. I saw it about a year ago. I think they may have done it 18 months, 2 years ago or something like that. But a fun little YouTube challenge that they put out to create your own warband. And we've made a few little tweaks, but in essence, so you can follow along, we will be choosing a ring bearer, a champion, a counselor, a mage, a warrior, an axeman, so a warrior with a big old axe, an archer, an animal companion, and then finally a wild card. So we're going to draft this out. We picked out the numbers randomly, and of course they ended up going 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
We're not going to do a snake. We're just going
So
to
funny.
go kind of circular here as we draft through all of these, and then we're going to post up the full list so you can play along and let us know what your fellowship is.
Right.
And then if you would be so kind, if you feel inclined, tell us who you think makes it. Who destroys the ring?
I think all of us will totally kick the Gwyn brothers' asses.
So here we go. We'll start it off, and we're gonna go. We're not on a timer, but we're gonna try to act as
Okay,
if we are
wait. And
on
just
a
to be
timer.
clear, once you pick one, I can't get it, right?
Correct. Yep.
So
Yep.
you get it. That's
One and done.
Stevens. You get it. That's all right.
Yep.
All right.
Because there's actually 3 Elrons. There's 3 separate Elrons. Summoning characters.
Again, this
And
is-
multiverse.
it's the multiverse.
Just go with us.
It's the
One,
multiverse.
one, he's got blue eyes. The
Yeah.
other, he's got, they all have there's only one ring though.
There-
Yep,
yeah,
only one ring.
Yeah.
And the stakes
President
are the
Hall.
same.
All right.
Sauron is bad.
So-
and he can control the multiverse with the one ring.
All right.
I'm adding
I'm
layers.
gonna make a really surprising choice here.
Okay.
and in being wildly sarcastic.
And you
I am
can
choosing
pick for any one of the 9, right? Any
correct.
one of them.
Any of them in any order. And so my first choice is going to be Sir Abel of the High Heart as my champion.
Okay, as champion.
Yes.
Okay.
So Sir Abel of the High Heart is off the
like,
table, and he is my champion.
This is his post-ascension, yes?
Yes. Yep.
That's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
We all knew that was going to happen.
I was gonna say it's like, is it Sir Abel the White or Sir Abel the Gray?
Sir Abel of the High Heart is my champion.
No, it's a great pick. Abel is one of the best. And
Daniel's sad. He's so sad.
I probably
he was
gonna
gonna pick Sir. He was like, I should have sat where Steven
I
is.
was maybe gonna go Abel first. I had a few ideas in my head, but Abel's just so powerful and strong, and then also just you feel good picking him. But I'm actually going to maybe have a surprise pick, but I feel really strong about it, and I'm going to take Gilf as my animal companion.
I came so close to that being my first pick.
Gilf is...
Wait, Conan's on here twice.
Yes, because he can fill either. He's
you can
a
pick him as an
master.
Axeman or a warrior.
Yep.
Bro, but I guess he's... Well,
you can't pick him twice, but the point is you can.
I
pick him as
want
an Axeman.
double Conan.
Double
Multiverse Conans.
No, I know,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But I'm picking Gilf. Gilf is maybe the greatest animal companion in fiction ever.
Yeah.
He's a talking dog.
He's pretty OP.
And so you can send him on missions. You can do just about anything with him, and he transforms into a dog larger than a horse. So I mean, hey, I'm all about it.
Yeah. To me, the most important thing of this entire list is definitely the ring bearer. So I need to pick my ring bearer first when I'm looking at this. And honestly, I want to pick... I want to pick a fucking horse to be my ring bearer.
What?
Shield.
Shield is your ring bearer.
Shield is my ring bearer.
How do we feel about this, Daniel?
Listen. The ring corrupts all, but can it corrupt an animal? I don't think so. I think animals operate differently, and I think
Shield's
in
just gonna
Elrond's
lose
wisdom, no, bro, because we have not gotten to the second part with the counselor is the one that goes all the way. All right.
Okay.
So Shield is my ring
Shield's-
bearer.
So
Sauron, he can't even put it on. First off, he
Okay.
can't even wear the ring.
So,
and second off, the Dark Lord is never going to get in a horse's head and be like, "What is he? He's thinking about grass." Like always.
Okay.
Always.
yeah, all that grass in Mordor.
I'm just saying he's going to make it Shield. He's a special horse.
Gosh. Okay.
Hot take. I love it. So we'll see. I'm gonna do ring bearer too, and same franchise, but I'm gonna pick Corbin Ben Thanon from Faithful and the Fallen as my ring bearer.
Okay.
I think he's very similar to Sir Abel in his level of he's a purely good character. He when he sets his mind to something, he's going to do it. And as we see throughout Faithful and the Fallen, he resists corruption of the highest order frequently. Mm-hmm. So I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about that choice.
Okay. I really just want to say I love how this has fallen to me. I really coveted having Gilf on my team. And then I really love where I'm at to announce my ring bearer as Conan the Barbarian, my ring bearer.
Yeah, he's kind of a purist. I thought about that as well.
Okay.
So here's the idea.
Yes, please go.
Guess what? With Conan, and this is where my head's at. I think Conan is approaching Bombadil levels of. He puts the ring on and he doesn't turn invisible. He puts the ring on.
It doesn't fit. He puts it on. He's like, my fingers are too big.
Yeah,
too strong. We're too strong.
And I've not fully decided. I'm going to see how the rest of this plays out. But honestly, we're taking on the Dark Lord with Conan wearing the ring, and then Conan will destroy it willingly after winning. That's
So Conan goes in, kicks. He doesn't go through Cirith He kicks open the black gates.
He just marches right up.
Marches
there.
in.
Riding a troll.
with Gilf at his side.
Yeah.
I like where this is going. Honestly, like I don't want to
honestly, you're
root for
done.
you. I don't want to
You don't
root for
even need
yours.
other teammates.
But
I know.
that is pretty fucking badass. If we're being honest here.
I might pivot on my plan, but that's kind of I had this idea. Conan is like steroids Boromir, so like he takes the ring and then we're going all the way. Okay.
I mean, but that's like he just becomes the Dark Lord.
No, Conan. It's like I can't
Nah.
get girls with the ring.
I don't think
he throws it away.
I don't know.
Let us
We gotta
audience.
see the rest of your team. Who's his like? You know, he kills everyone on his team. He keeps the dog because the dog. But the dog can talk.
We'll see how the rest of it plays out. We'll see how the rest of it.
Let us know again, audience. Let us know who wins.
I have a couple discrepancies with your ring bearer choice.
Well,
Steven
you're up.
Oh, it's me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. So, and this is why this works. My counselor is going to be Skaflock.
Counselor.
Counts. Ooh.
Because he goes all the way. That's why it works.
Wait, what?
He goes all the way to Mount Doom.
Okay.
Well, you're thinking of Counselor literally as Samwise, the character
Yes.
that is
And
getting
this
the
is
ring bearer to the
Skaflock,
end.
and he's smart enough to be like, I'm going to leave the ring under the saddle on shield.
Go, right.
Not gonna touch
he's
it.
riding a
You're
horse.
riding shield.
It's there.
So Skaflock has his unbeatable sword, basically.
With the ring, but tucked away underneath
I
shield.
don't think Skaflock with the ring plus the sword.
That's
Yeah,
100% a Dark Lord.
That's what I'm
It's a
saying.
bad-
He's there. He can't be beaten, but he's also smart enough to be like, listen,
Okay.
I live with the elves. I can be sneaky like them.
One question though: how is Shield getting through the pass of Kirathungol?
Did we say they have to take the same way?
No, we didn't. That's why the one.
There are
weird
other ways.
I am curious. You didn't pick Cloud because Cloud can fly.
Yeah, so that I knew I was going Skaflock, and the sword is overpowered. So I wanted to be more, humble in my approach.
Oh man! All right. I'll be honest. We're getting some hot takes here that I didn't see.
I haven't read that far
I
in the
love
story.
it.
You're good. You're good.
I love it.
Except that was probably I did read that part.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go animal companion, and similar to the idea of a character that is going to be unequivocally 100% behind getting the ring bearer to Mount Doom, no matter the cost. With Corbin as my ring bearer, I am going to choose Storm as my animal companion.
That tracks.
I still thought you were going to go
Because-
Cloud.
well-
I thought we were going to get to do Eagles go to Mordor takes.
But wait. We
Cloud.
can't do those takes. They're just not allowed. And
100%.
and also we are considering that these characters still maintain their integrity of who they are. So Storm, Corbin, I mean, that's the
makes sense.
combo.
It makes sense.
Why would you put him with another animal?
Well, I was going to say though, I did think
Because
about
Skaflock, I mean, Shield is like faithful to Corbin, but he's still just a horse.
I will say-
Cloud is only for Sir Abel, so
this. Man, fair
that's
enough.
why. That's why.
They do-
So this is a good opportunity.
But he
One,
has Sir Abel too.
I do. Yeah, I have both. But I like this choice.
If he's
I think there's a lot of
goal. I don't see Shelob holding up against the
no.
woman.
There's also a lot of. I mean, part of the biggest reason why riding the Eagles to Mordor doesn't work is there's a lot of air cover in Mordor.
Yes.
So flying into Mordor is
9
not.
of them, right? They're
Yeah,
all
there's 9 of them.
Nazgûls.
I will say, I just feel like Cloud does it, which makes my Gilf pick make less sense. But I do for some reason.
If anybody could, it would probably be Cloud.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a
I
pretty
think it's
big
probably
if.
a bad idea.
This is a
what
good
I'm saying.
opportunity to take a pause for a second. And one rule that we gave ourselves going into this is that we can only pick 2 characters from a given franchise. So I have Corbin.
You're done.
I have
You're
Storm.
done, yeah.
I cannot pick any more characters from the Faithful and the Fallen. So Daniel, your pick.
Okay, I'm.
So
still,
you can't pick Conan twice, Daniel.
No, I can't. I just marking him off for ease. I've got a couple ideas here and ways I could go that I feel really good about. But because of that, I feel really good about my next pick also. So I'm going to go with Elric as my champion.
Interesting.
He better have a lot of mushrooms handy.
So I've got Gilf, arguably the most powerful character from Wizard Knight. I've got Conan, the one of the biggest badasses of all time. And I've got Elric now, who has literally teamed up with him in Marvel Comics before. So there's great synergy there.
Especially since it's the multiverse.
I don't think they were very good, though, were they?
No, but it happened.
This is a good version of them teaming up.
And so all that being said, Elric is close to unbeatable with Stormbringer. Obviously, there are caveats there, but he also gets to be a second, mage or wizard. And I really love the energy. I didn't feel like Elric could be the ring bearer. There was way too much tragedy going on there. But also, is Elric going to maybe try to take the ring from Conan? Probably, but Conan's also going to definitely keep it away from him.
That's what I was going to say. Is I see two pretty big red flags with Elric as the champion. Is there's that he's 100% going to try to Boromir the ring.
I think so.
Yeah.
And two, if he runs out of his potions or if he loses some of them.
On a practical sense, yeah.
Then he's also in trouble.
Also,
but
those
hot takes, I love it.
Those two just don't get along. That's going to be a real contentious.
Well, they actually
journey.
in the Marvel comics that are poorly written, they do get along pretty well.
The one thing
after
using,
a little while.
this is my foundation, and I will die upon it.
The other side of it I like is that so far, a magic dog Conan and Elric feels like a real story.
It honestly does. It does.
I honestly see Conan being like, "What is this freaking dog?" Like being upset about it.
This is the best
Conan
dog I've
is
ever
literally
seen.
he is creeped out constantly in your team. He's got a magic ring, ooh. Elric, obvious ooh, and then Gilf. What is that?
Yeah,
is that a gray?
I think he and Gilf get along pretty well.
I definitely think he. And
Well,
Gilf
the
get
dog
along.
can talk, which makes it better.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Champion. I wanted to pick my champion. I had it a moment ago. Oh, Druss, champion.
When he takes an axe.
The reason why I picked Druss as a champion is because Druss is on his last fight. This is his last journey because that's the Druss we know, and I think a champion must inspire, and I think that this champion of mine might not make it all the way, but will definitely.
So is Druss
push.
fighting the Balrog?
I think Druss is actually going to go down with that Balrog. But take him out.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Take him out, but he ain't coming back as Druss the White.
He's probably just dead.
He's out.
He's just dead.
But
he'll come back as a sick ghost
Druss
at some
always
point.
Somewhat of a
has-
spoiler. He does come back in Legend.
Yeah.
So
After
yeah,
the-
when
Yep.
he'll get someone with like the ghosts that come in and fight at Minas Tirith in the movie.
He's come
There
back
you
as
go.
one of the ghosts.
I love it.
Here's ghost.
Yeah. He's like, "What? I'm here now. Can you please
I
release
will
me?"
say though, Druss coming off the board, really, the axe category was very slim. And
What,
it
you
is
mad
now-
that I used
No,
him as a
I'm-
champion?
I'm
No.
I'm in a tough spot in the axe
Yes.
department
There are some good options
that I
still.
I have no access to.
Oh, right, because a lot of them are Faithful and Fallen.
Yep.
You're gonna be.
I know. So we're just gonna do this before I somehow find myself not being able to fill a slot.
You can do this with your last pick if you want. You just have to avoid Broken Sword.
Well, and did you guys both pick Axeman though?
Well, he picked
Not me
Conan
yet.
the Warrior
Well, so I guess there's no point. Yeah.
But you're probably not gonna pick Valgard.
No.
because Valgard is evil as shit.
But if you want to
Fuck
wait
me.
to get someone else, that's fine.
Yeah, I think I probably have to. Yeah, that's gonna get.
Steven, I didn't meaningfully do that. Just
Nope, no,
I
it's
wanted
great.
Druss.
It's great. You stole the one that I was going to pick,
That was
but
probably your next pick.
it
Wasn't
was 100% my next pick. But that's that's all right. You know what? That's the game.
He's a champion.
So I am going to. I'm gonna get a warrior to go along with Corbin and Sir Abel, and I think. Man, there's a lot of great Faithful and the Fallen warriors that I no longer have access to. So instead, I think I'm going to take. Ooh, there's some great ones here. I'm going to take Waylander.
But he kind of counts as an archer too, doesn't he?
Yep. Well, I can get some double ranged attacks here, but he is absolutely.
You're gonna take him as
brilliant.
a
I'm going to take him
swordsman?
as a swordsman.
Interesting.
But now he's gone from archers too, right?
Yeah, he's gone for both.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's dead.
Yeah,
He
I don't
was
know.
my top pick for Archer. for
I
sure.
Crossbows are pretty dang good.
I like that that spot. He kind of fits that almost ranger. He's an assassin in the books, but he fits that kind of ranger element. He's going to be good on the path, and he, as we see in the book Waylander, he in the end gives his all to accomplish the mission and save Drenai. So let's go Waylander. I like Waylander. I dig him as a character.
Nice.
Okay.
See, Daniel's
still a lot of picks and magicians left.
Honestly,
There's
this one's important for you because it needs to be like kind of like the party guy that like gets everyone to get along.
Well, I
wish I could pick for you. I've got a great party guy for you.
Interesting, because what was funny was I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with, in my opinion, the biggest badass from Faithful and the Fallen, and I'm going to take Makeen.
Hell yeah.
In my opinion, I think maybe the best warrior from the entire story.
I think you could make a very solid argument for that.
So
I'm
you've
read more of it than I have, but he does seem all right.
Yeah. And
because I'm supposed to finish this month now.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take Makeen, Heart of Gold, and a determination to finish a task.
Is he gonna help Conan and Elric?
He's definitely getting along with Conan.
Yes.
They're gonna be best buds. He's also getting along with Gilf.
100%.
Elric and that energy, I don't know as much. I'm not saying they're gonna be enemies. There might be some there, but he.
Who does Elric get along with?
That's yeah.
Moonglum?
Moonglum is it. Moonglum is it.
He gets along with the little Barty guy whose name I
and the Dreamcatcher's daughter.
He also gets along with Una.
Dream Thief.
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Dreamcatcher, Dream Thief's daughter.
Yep. All right. Over to you, Sam.
I very much like that pick.
So I'm liking my team. I got the horse with the ring. I got Scaflock, kind of riding it next to it. Druss definitely is like, I love that boy. I just love that boy. That Druss is looking at Scaflock like, man, what a man.
Druss as an old man on a journey is I still think he's a great pick, but that's the one thing that's hard. He's not traveling.
His knees are going to be bugging him.
No, like nobody else. Like,
or is he riding Shield for a while?
They'll take turns. Shield's strong. It's a cult, and Druss is like, Scaflock's like, you want to ride? And he's like, I don't ride. And then, he gets tired, and they have to put him on there. Okay. So, my next pick, no. Oh, I had another one. I really liked it.
You're good.
I can't pick another. Well, I could pick another animal, because I don't have an animal companion.
No.
So, honestly,
I'm gonna
take Cloud now.
Wow.
Oh.
And Druss is gonna ride Cloud.
Fascinating.
Oh my gosh. I'm surprised you avoided taking a gray ape.
I did too. We put that right there.
I hate gray apes. Why would I pick that? I saw that. I was like, ugh. I hate them. A gray ape would not get along with anybody. They just want to kill them all constantly.
Okay, so Scaflock's wearing shield. Scaflock's riding Shield.
They're
riding Cloud.
They're flip flop. They can flip flop, but Shield has to be the ring bearer for sure.
Okay.
I got a team of dudes and horses.
All right.
That's amazing. All right, I'm gonna go with my archer, and I'm going to pick my final Drenai Saga pick here, and I'm going to go with Bowman.
Yeah.
From Legend.
Well, he's a
kind of roguish Robin Hood kind of character. Again, though, with Heart of Gold, and absolutely deadly archer.
Yep.
So yeah, he fits in with the name Legend just as much as Druss does. I mean, he would
definitely start the mission with like, I'll go halfway. I'll just go to Fanghorn Forest.
Right. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to go all the way, and he's there until the very end. So that's my archer is Bowman.
All righty.
All right. So yeah, Bowman is my archer.
Okay. I'm tempted to go a few different routes here.
You should probably get some.
But I think no. And honestly, I knew you were. I figured you were thinking that way.
Really.
The problem is, I don't have a strong feeling about which
Oh, I did have. That's okay. You go
about
on.
which
I know what I'm saying
of
next.
the. And okay, yeah, I'm gonna take Yennefer as my mage.
Good luck.
Yeah, and I
Yeah, better hope she gives a shit about the mission.
my
Bro, talk about.
she's gonna be
You got
all over
Elric.
Conan.
Now
Let's be real.
Yeah, they are for
They're
sure.
gonna be a thing.
What?
Conan's
Her and
gonna-
Elric are going to be a
Conan's-
thing.
That's a good point.
Nah, he's too.
He's too spindly.
She's already in love with the one white-haired dude, but her white-haired dude is
She
jacked
also
and
was
not-
in love with that wizard.
She's getting swept up in by Conan, and there's going to be something. There's going to be a romance going on. But I also think with possibly Shilba and Ningoble accepted, and some caveats for maybe Peleus, I think she's the most powerful wizard.
She
sorcerer.
certainly is.
Yeah, but it's like an Ash and Charizard situation. Like, like... It's like Charizard doesn't obey Ash.
Yeah, but she's
well,
but
fair.
she's going to be compelled by the need to destroy the ring.
Here's the thing.
Probably she's
I'm only
Yes, she is.
I'm only salty because I was gonna pick Yennefer.
I knew you were.
However, I actually do think that this is a cause that an evil of the scope of the ring is something that Yennefer is going to be. She's either going to be wildly devoted to destroying it or to figuring out how she can take it and use it. And I think that she is wise enough to know that she couldn't.
And I do think that there's maybe going to be a potential for Yennefer and Conan to like make their own destiny with the ring.
Oh, you see
coming
like
on
a-
that's interesting.
That's coming on the table. But I think in the end they do the right thing, and I think in the end Conan is like, I'm going to destroy this thing.
I could 100% see her blasting Conan into the volcano if he didn't.
Also that.
Or like they fight and he bites her finger off. But Daniel, you just see roses for them, like King Conan and babies with Yennefer.
Maybe some
right.
Yennefer. Well,
Poor Geralt.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
I know. I'm kind of surprised he's still on the
yeah,
board.
we haven't picked him.
I can't anymore. Oh, I could petition as a wild card.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
All right, Mage. I am picking Yuri and Baki.
Did they come as a package deal? Do we feel good about
You
that?
wrote
I
them as a package
wrote them as a
deal.
package deal because they're kind of they're
they're
very frequently a package deal,
I
and
agree.
I don't feel
And
like they're
my
so
reason-
overpowered that they shouldn't be a package
I'm
deal.
happiest with my reason.
So hopefully it's not
Because-
sunny when you need them.
One thing, and I won't because I've got a flying
in
horse.
Mordor, in
You're good when
Mordor,
you get to
that's a
Mordor,
good
yeah.
Point. You're good.
When I need the deception, they will be there. And the thing is about them, against all other mages, is they're the ones that actually do what they're told for the most part. For the most part, they don't have like this weird thing like Ningoblin and Shield, but like I have my agenda, which makes only sense to me.
And maybe away from Garsic in a new universe, they're gonna
Even then, play ball. We only need them to play ball for like 20 minutes.
I will say,
and they will.
I would love to see the combo of Uri and Baki being in the Council of Elrond and what that's like, because they're all elves.
Yeah.
But they're very different.
They're
elves.
very different, and
It's
they're not.
interesting.
I'd love to see all of the nice, composed Lord of the Rings elves, and then here's these fire-haired, naked,
things.
red, beautiful,
naked like
elves.
ratchet-ass people.
What is this? What are these creatures?
And I feel like, spoiler alert to some degree, very, very tiny spoiler, that Elrond can probably see that they're just like piles of flaming dung.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. All right, so it's back to me.
What? They're on my team.
You can drink their blood whenever you need.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, Scaflock and Druss is going to need it.
Druss's knees might get healed.
Oh shit.
Like by that lady that helped him with her massages.
Yeah, but
Like
another
by
level.
drinking Uri and Baki's. Yeah.
See, my team is stacked.
that's
You guys
very
will see.
interesting.
I'm
That's
going
very
all the way.
interesting.
I got horses and elven witches, and then two dudes who massively respect each other, different generations.
All right. If you guys wanna veto this, I will understand. But I think that it fits. I would like to take as my mage. I would like to take Geralt of Rivia.
I thought that he would be a good. I don't veto it. That's fine. He can do hand signs.
He has his version of magic.
I think that's fine.
And it's certainly not the same or the same level as some of like Yennefer in his universe.
Sure. I think that's fine.
But I think between his potions and his and his signs, I think that fits.
I think that's okay.
If you guys would rather, I could take him as a counselor, or I can.
No, I mean, you can
it's pushing it. I understand this is pushing
take him as your mage, but even with that, you are still opening yourself up to kind of a huge handicap.
Well, I was about to say
his magic is ultra limited.
I think because he isn't a full-fledged mage, but does dabble in magic. Obviously, you're getting a great warrior as well. I think it's a handicap.
I have a big warrior handicap.
What?
I have a big warrior handicap coming up.
That's what I say. I feel like it's
he does also have able, so like both of their half wizardry could be a full. I also
feel like to do this, he's passing up some truly powerful options. So I don't feel like there's an issue with that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a decision I can feel good about.
If it is the will of the council.
Okay.
Geralt of Rivia is in my mage spot.
So then I felt like I risked it a little bit last time. So now I'm going to go with Camlin as my archer.
Very good.
Who I felt like was a clear step ahead of the other remaining archer options, which was actually a really thin class overall.
True.
With axes. But Camlin's great. Another Robin Hood adjacent kind of rogue character who very skilled archer, can do other things for you too. So I feel good about that.
He's also very dedicated to the mission.
Absolutely. And you know what? Yeah, he's gonna and I'm out on Faithful and the Fallen characters, but he and Matt Keaton don't cross paths a whole bunch, but he's gonna help keep, I think, Conan and Elric kind of on the straight and narrow. Not more Elric maybe than Conan, because Conan probably doesn't need that much. But I feel good about what he's going to be bringing to the team.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that very much.
I'm gonna do. Wait a second. Was one of our warriors supposed to be an axeman?
Yes.
So one is a warrior and one's an axeman, right?
Yes.
Correct. Yep. Or Gimli.
I'm taking Alcyon.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Axeman. That's self-explanatory. He's a giant. He has an axe.
Yep.
Don't need to say much more.
Nope.
He's also he's down to hang. He's pretty nice.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's just a good dude.
Honestly, he's going to be the life of the party with my group.
And technically, you have a little bit of magic there too.
Yes.
A little bit.
Because he has control of the earth power.
Honestly,
as well.
him and Uri and Baki, they're going to get along real well. Skaflock and Drusser are mostly just going to be brooding.
Right.
But they're just going to talk about man, it's crazy that we're different kind of beings, right?
Yeah, and I do feel really good about that because that leaves the character that I wanted to pick for my X-Men. So
me too. It leaves mine wide open as well.
You're getting there. I mean, I like Alcyon.
No, it's a good pick.
He helps.
He's basically right there with the guy I wanted, but I did.
I mean, if he's buddies with Nathair, he's going to be real good buddies with these other guys.
All right. So I'm going to go with my counselor, and I'm going to pick Thiazi.
Okay.
From Wizard Knight.
Okay, wow.
So I have a little bit of magic from that as well. But he's a good counselor, I feel, and I also have a giant and a massive giant.
Yep.
Like actual giant. Yeah,
yep.
giant.
So I see a lot of different advantages there. He obviously works well with Sir Abel.
Yep.
So Thiazi is going to be my counselor. A little bit extra magic, but also literal counselor to the king. And I'm done with.
You are done on Wizard.
With Wizard Knight.
So you're done on Wizard and two others, right?
And Faithful and the Fallen.
But I thought
and Draenei. Yep.
Nice.
Okay. So
you only got one X-Men, bro.
I still need an X-Men. I've got my eyes set on. Well, he's got one X-Men available. I need an X-Men, I need a counselor, and then I've got a wild card. I have some mixed feelings here because I've got an idea, but there's some people on the board still that it actually feels almost disrespectful to take some of the ones that I'm thinking about here. But I think I've got a plan because you know what? We took Merry and Pippin on the Lord of the Rings journey, so it's not necessarily about.
We used two whole
It's not necessarily
spots.
about who's the most skilled.
It's the heart.
It's the heart.
The heart is what counts.
So, and I've got a couple plans that I hope will pay off here. But as my counselor, and again, this one that you guys will be able to veto, I think, because it is a little bit of a change. I'm going to take Moonglum as my counselor.
I don't hate that at all.
Why would I veto that?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
Nope. That's great.
I mean, I think he's kind of annoying, but that's your counsel.
But I'm teaming Moonglum up with Elric.
Oh, you're done?
Who can bring the best
yes.
out of Elric.
He 100% is the only one that can bring
I'm
the
like
best
this
out.
close to vetoing that because that's the only thing. That's the only thing that holds your fellowship together. Without Moonglum,
it brings it together.
I don't know. That makes you.
It
That makes
brings
you
it
kind of
together.
overpowered. Does he have Stormbringer?
Yeah,
does
of course.
have
Yeah, he
Stormbringer.
has to. Yeah, otherwise.
But
there's
he's got
literally no
Moonglum
reason to
and
take-
Storm. Moonglum is literally the thing that keeps Elric on the planet.
Moonglum is also getting along great with Conan. I just know it.
And he's got the
100%,
hots for
absolutely.
Yennefer, absolutely.
But Yennefer just pushes him aside.
Yeah, but he's telling Elric about, oh man, she's so beautiful. I don't know, man.
to you.
You and Moonglum, that's too much. That's too much. Okay, so for my archer, this, and you can veto this, but I don't like these archer choices, and I'm gonna make Cywin my archer, but she throws knives instead.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. That's still a ranged option.
Yeah, range. I don't need much because I got a bunch of horses.
if here's the thing, if you guys are down with Geralt's
I think that's
magical
very
abilities
fair.
counting,
Yeah.
then Kywin
think that's
throwing
very
She's
fair.
daggers,
deadly with them
absolutely.
knives, and like
That's
I
very
think that's
fair.
all that matters. She
That's
can be
your
like
range.
riding on cloud, get a little bit closer.
And you know what? Honestly, it also gives you a little bit of
There's some
some
magic
healing
there.
ability as well.
Healing and magic.
Which I'm gonna need for Druss's knees.
Yep. Yep, making some salves for those knees.
Think about Druss with like no knee problems. We got an unstoppable
I just realized
force.
I picked two Faithful and the Fallen characters.
Oh, you're done.
I don't have an axe option.
Oh shit, are we about to fight over Valgard?
I never thought it would come to this. But you can also pick an
Wow,
adjacent one who had an axe at one point and just wasn't good with it, like Fafhrd.
I mean, I could. Oh wow, I messed up.
Fafhrd used an axe a couple times.
Does he?
I think he has his
Sir
sword.
Ravid, Sir Ravid or
mostly
Sir Spawn, any of these sirs. I mean, Stephen can't do
But
Wizard
the-
Knight.
Yeah.
Any of the sirs
I mean,
could use an
I mean,
axe.
like, yes, you can give anyone an axe.
They'll be
but
bad with it, though.
I just realized I messed up.
You're screwed.
Wow.
What about the Grey Ape? He could use an axe.
Graham could use an axe.
He'd probably
I racked my brain trying to think of another character from these books that used an axe.
Like, actually used an axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, and there's
I
a lot
was
of
not
axes.
thinking-
John Gwynn likes axes, but yeah,
I should've
Gemmel really only gave an axe to Druss as far as we read
Yeah.
in book club.
Tanaka
All right,
Khan
well,
uses an
we'll
axe.
see how
We'll
this
cross that
develops.
bridge when we get to it.
I mean, we
Yep.
could honestly say Ananias uses an axe. Like, that's fine. Although I don't want either of you to have him because he's a monster.
All right, who's go?
It's yours.
It's mine.
Here comes Valgard.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna do it. So all right, so for my axe pick, I'm super excited to be bringing Valgard, the villain from Broken Sword, the only villain on this list. Again, because we had so few in the axe
But
category.
he was so tortured.
However,
soul.
here's
He
the
was
thing.
tortured
Yes,
soul.
Valgard is a tortured soul. He does some truly evil things, but I feel like the journey to destroy the One Ring could be a redemption story.
It could.
He is a mighty warrior.
I mean, he could end up with many arrows.
If
You can
anyone
maybe
is
You
capable,
can maybe carrot stick Arwen.
I'm just
Like
saying,
he does with the witch, you know? Like,
oh my God.
I mean, you could also just like have
Arwen's
him,
like,
have
I'll be with you if you destroy the ring. Like,
And then secretly be like, just boot him in as soon as you're done.
Yeah, I mean, or you could Boromir him. Like,
Well, I'm
you know,
just. I mean,
just
yeah,
die
maybe
soon.
he dies a valiant death on the journey.
trying to save the Wolven or
If
something.
anybody, here's the thing. That's actually the thing. If anybody could take Valgard and help him have that redemption journey, which I feel like there were a couple of moments at the beginning of Broken Sword where he's close to it.
There was a moment, yeah.
There was a moment where he could have gone
until
a
he
different
got laid
direction.
by that witch, and that was over.
If anybody could do it, it's going to be Corbin and Sir Abel in the Ring Bearer and Champion position. If they can't do it, I have an entire team full of people that can kill Valgard, especially Storm and Sir Abel and probably Corbin, almost certainly Corbin. To say nothing of Wayland and Bo. So I feel confident, and if we have to handle Valgard on the way, we can handle Valgard on the way.
You guys are starting out with
We're starting out with a
major
massive
conflict.
handicap that we may have to murk one of our dudes on the way.
Yeah.
But if it comes to that, we'll do it. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's fine. You have to. It's fine. Respectable.
Okay. It's my turn. So I can technically am not allowed to pick so here's the thing. I'm going to have to petition, and I was going to suggest allowing the cabinet to let me switch Camlin to Iden to allow my team to be kosher, but I realized I can't do that with something else I want to do. So the question would be, would you guys allow me to sub McKean for a different swordsman so that then I can actually pick an axeman and be kosher?
No.
I don't know.
You already have
Okay.
Moonglam Elric. I'll take your weak fellowship.
That's fair.
Make somebody who can't wield an axe be an axeman.
That's fair.
Well, I don't know. I was going to go in the opposite direction. That Makeen is like that. That's one of your star players. Actually,
I agree.
Like he's going to be one that I could see potentially taking out Elric if Elric needed taking out.
Right.
Makeen is
Elric
one of the only ones
your
that is
Aragorn, though. So, like, literally, if he goes out...
If I have to sub Camlin for Iden, I'll just not do the thing I wanted to do for my wild card. But if Sam feels better about me subbing Camlin for Iden, because that's also... Iden's actually a pretty good archer, but it's a drop down.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather that. You're too stacked.
I'll accept that.
Get rid of Moonglum and we'll talk.
No.
Exactly. My case in point. You're like, Camlin can go, or Makeen, but not Moonglum.
I'll admit what I was gonna. Well, no, I'll wait. We'll wait because I don't want to reveal my plans, even though they're probably
Almost
obvious.
on the nose at this point.
And then now I have subbed. Camlin we've kicked him in the butt.
Iden,
We've said
she's
get out of
good.
here. I've subbed in Iden as my archer, and as my axeman I will take Balor One Eye.
Yeah, cool. And the reason why I don't like your archer sub is because we've already picked archers, so nobody else wants Camlin or can have him.
That's fair.
Yeah, so
That's fair.
smart.
That's fair.
Picked a great time.
Although
to do
nobody,
that.
you could have picked McKean, but
Well, not anymore.
not well. If
you
I
have your
let
wild
him
card.
go, if I let him go, well, you have a swordsman that's available too.
I just don't want him though.
No. All right.
So
you.
Sam,
Okay. I'm afraid you guys are gonna take my wild card, so I want to take him now. But it's all right. I'm gonna take my wild card, and I want Pook as my wild card
Wow.
because he seems to be a magnet for like problems, but also solutions right after them. So
I actually really love that pick.
yeah,
'Cause I feel like he calls-
Although that's that's a third character from
oh shoot, I can't
Oh,
do it.
You
Yep.
can't pick Pook.
No, I wanted him so bad.
I know.
All right, never mind, guys. Retract that.
You can if you sub Cloud for Craft or a Gray Ape. I'll let you sub Cloud.
I hate gray apes. I would take Manny the cat over him, but I can't have Wizard Knight.
I know it's no more.
Oh, all I can have is either Craft or I don't want the Crow.
All right.
No, it's fine. Back to Warriors. All right, fine. I'll take
I actually love-
Ananias for Warrior.
Okay.
that's
a great pick.
Hey, that's a great pick.
I know,
That's a
I
stellar
figured.
pick.
It's a great pick.
It's almost just like too good. Because look at all my guys. I literally have a dude in every generation that is kind of the same person. Scafflock, the younger one. Ananias, a little bit older, messed up face, all handsome. Druss, used to be handsome, but still just like kind of kick ass in his old age. Riding horses, got these little fairy elves off to the side to kind of like come and like help them when they need magic stuff.
I love it.
All right, well,
20.
we're on our last round,
I need a
gentlemen.
wild card, though. Thanks for
So-
calling me. I didn't notice
You're
that.
welcome.
For my wild card, I do not have a whole heck of a lot of options left. Mostly because of not having too many books left from which to choose. So I think for You know what? I like this. For my wild card, I'm going to be picking the Grey Mouser.
Damn it!
Yeah.
I was literally thinking that. He's a perfect one.
He was on my...
He's a great fighter, but he's also got that rogue
Wild energy.
side.
Yeah.
He's got... it's debatable in this universe whether he has any sort of access to his wizard patron. Probably not, but regardless, he's filling the role of the traditional Lord of the Rings burglar, the rogue, the D&D rogue type,
the traditional Lord of the Rings short king.
yes, short king Grey Mouser.
Oh dear.
So that's my fellowship done.
Okay,
Daniel,
I love it.
Let's wrap it up.
So before I was forced fairly by the restrictions of this game to switch to Iden, my plan for wildcard was to pick Org. I was going to pick Org, and I felt just so good about it. That was actually part of my plan with Moonglum. Is Moonglum serves a double purpose as my Org caretaker and my Elric buddy.
You need him.
And I felt so
that was great.
Good about it.
Yep.
And I messed myself up. So I really needed to pick one of Bowman or Waylander for my team. But either way, we're here now. I still have some great options available to me. And for my wild card, oh man, I've got to. So really, I'm going to just talk this through with you guys because I can pick whoever I want. I'm torn on Ducato. Talked about as the greatest swordsman, also has some source abilities. Or Fafhrd, because Fafhrd being
double Conan,
but jokey, singy songy Conan.
Right. Like the comedian, really.
And I really want to pick Ducato, but I think I have to go Fafhrd.
I love it.
I think, honestly, if you go that way, you've got the craziest love triangle ever. Like, Yennefer is wanting to get with all of those dudes. Elric is totally off to the side mad about it, but like, bro.
Yeah,
that is a love triangle.
I just really do love though that I've ended up with Conan, Elric, and Fafhrd. I feel there's something special.
You've got the sword and sorcery trio there.
Kind of that. Okay.
If we're being honest though, like Fafhrd's maybe going to have a problematic relationship with Iden.
Probably so.
She's not going to approve.
That's fair.
I do have to say though, props to you. I appreciate that your fellowship is not a total sausage fest.
It's true. I do have some ladies.
Yeah.
And what was funny was I didn't think I would pick any beforehand, but
I had Cywin and Yuri and Baki. I feel like Cywin's going to be
both of you. I'm the freaking
he's a sausage
old-fashioned
honestly,
sausage person.
Cywin's going to be pretty lonely in mine now that I think about it. I for my wild card am going to pick freaking Garseg.
Okay.
Because what kind? That's the most wild of wild cards.
Wait, you can't. You tried to pick another one?
Yep, you can't.
But he's so great. Well, that was a fun idea. I actually realized that.
If you want that same energy, you could go for one of Shilba or Ningo.
I don't want that mess around. They're so messy.
They're 100% trying to take the ring.
That's what I'm saying.
You got Dudu.
They're like literally like, I actually called this council. Oh no, that was my other. I realized that. I just loved the idea so much that I went with it. I want Servitor.
Okay,
that's my wild card.
All right.
Because when you get in a bind,
you can't take him either.
Call on the 30. Why?
Because you have Dresden and Ananias.
Oh. So I can.
Good, Daniel, keeping you honest here.
No, I love that. Dang it. Well, I like you to hear my ideas.
I do too. I like to hear your ideas also.
So wait, is Peleus the dude from with the robe and the sash?
No, Peleus is the one in the Scarlet Citadel who summons the giant monster.
Nah, I don't want that guy.
Okay.
I don't like that guy.
Okay.
Nah, screw
I
the
like Peleus personally.
Yeah, I mean, you and him can get coffee or something. All right.
You want Una the Dream Thief?
No.
Okay.
What about Dudu? He can turn into anybody.
No,
he can turn into an orc and walk up and open gates for you.
It's not fun. Well, you took Fafhrd, yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Fafhrd and Mouser are gone.
Yeah. Wreck is so lame. I don't want Wreck. He's so
you can't pick Wreck anyways.
Oh, yeah. I can only pick something
gone.
from Grey Mouser or... Dude, I am not ending up with Ningoble or Shilba.
You take Mouse Sack or
Honestly, my wild card is a freaking gray ape.
He did it.
he did it. We got him.
I don't see a gray ape not fighting Shelob if like they're there. So,
Hey,
like,
you know what?
Uri
That's
and
a great
Baki-
point.
Uri and Baki can.
they can be like,
Yeah.
bring in the gray ape,
They're-
and then like, all right, they're gonna
They
do their
could keep.
thing.
Yeah, they keep him down.
We're gonna-
What's funny?
We're gonna ride Shield and Cloud. Right
So
there.
your fellowship though
Is mostly animals.
Really, Druss, Ananias, Alcyon, Kywin, and Scaflock.
Yeah.
With Uri and Baki kind of hanging out, Cloud and Shield, and then a gray ape.
Yeah.
So like there's like, yeah, it's
That's
a very
amazing.
Honestly,
it's
listen,
a very interesting.
Ananias and Druss are like talking to Scaffold like, man, this is redemption for you and your like weird relationship with your sister, with you and Cywin now. You could be with her. She's great at throwing knives. You know, I've got like
Okay.
a love thing happening here, which is pure instead of like your like freaking bachelorette scenario over here.
Okay. So what we need to do now is we'll start with Steven and work down.
Yep.
We both pitch our fellowship, and I think also kind of what story
Yeah.
Yep.
is our fellowship.
We're
Like,
talking
what
this
style story.
Now. This is a short story, not 700 pages,
Yeah.
right? Like, so
We will be brief. We will be brief, but I like that. So okay, so I've got to recap my ring
Yes.
bearer Corbin from the Faithful and the Fallen, my champion Sir Abel of the High Heart from Wizard Knight, my counselor is Theozi from Wizard Knight.
jeez.
My mage is Geralt of Rivia from the Witcher series. My warrior is Waylander from the Draenei Saga. My axeman is Valgard from the Broken Sword. My archer is Bowman from the Draenei Saga, and my animal companion
Took
is
a real turn there.
Storm from Faithful and the Fallen.
Mostly main character energy, and then what?
And then my wild card is Gray Mouser.
I love it.
I
great
think that this is a straight up John Gwynn, David Gemmell, heroic fantasy, epic heroic fantasy journey. I think that. I think that Valgard dies on the way.
Okay.
I think that it's very contentious. I think that it comes to blows and fisticuffs many times. I think that he dies in defense of the company.
Okay.
Okay,
think
so
he
good
I
death,
think he
good
does.
death, good death.
I think he's an asshole about it the whole time.
Boromir adjacent.
But I don't think that my guys have to kill him.
Okay.
I think that he goes out in a blaze of glory and is able to redeem himself by helping to push the fellowship forward.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Whether that is dying on the bridge, charging the Balrog
Sure.
to give time, whether that is fighting off the Uruk-hai by himself,
Sure.
he dies. He doesn't make it.
Okay.
He doesn't make it for sure.
Do you have a route of travel for your?
I was gonna say, it sounds
fellowship?
like you're going through Misty.
Or-
I think
You going through Misty?
I don't think so. So that's more of an example of how he
No,
might
no,
die.
right,
but
right,
I think
right.
that they make for the Gap of Rohan.
Yeah, I think yeah.
And then I do think that they take the path of Kirith Ungol or something similar.
Okay.
Not trying to storm the Black Gates,
Okay.
not trying to sneak through. They're finding a similar side entrance into Mordor.
Okay.
And I don't know if Corbin, I think Corbin may, very similar to Frodo, have physical limitations getting to the mountain, not because he's weak, not because Frodo's weak, but just because of the power of the ring on a mortal man.
Yeah.
But I do think that he is able to throw the ring in,
okay.
especially with Sir Abel there to help him.
Sure.
Right.
I think it's a happy ending.
Sure.
And I think
Okay.
that they destroy the ring, and
I like it.
others may die. Valgar for sure dies. And I'm not just saying that because he's the villain, but I don't see him being able to make it to the end
I
and
agree.
not try to take the ring.
I agree.
But I do think that one little tiny spark of good that was left in him comes out in his attempt to save the rest of the company.
Yeah.
Yeah. The spark of good being that he was fashioned after someone good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's my story for my fellowship.
I like it.
Okay. So, So what I think is
So Conan's at the Council of Elrond, and he's like, can you guys fast forward?
Give me that ring.
Can you please fast forward?
Hold on. Tell us. Go through your list real quick.
And I will say, so my great point. My list is Conan as my ring bearer, the most decisive man of all time. He knows what he wants and he does what he wants. Next, as my champion, I've got the man with the unbeatable sword, Elric of Melniboné. And
I also have an unbeatable sword.
As my first sword, I've got Makeen, just a complete man set on a mission. Then as my axeman, I've got Balor One Eye, just really ready to rumble.
Ancient badass.
Yes, been doing it a long time. And hey, a lady that loves to hang with giants, we've got Lady Iden,
and a very skilled archer.
Who can also maybe dabble in the magic arts just a scotch.
And certainly in the counselor role as well.
Absolutely able to give wise counsel. Then from there, we've got Yennefer and a very, very powerful mage. But, hot-headed at best. But I think she's down for the challenge. Then we've got Gilf, the best dog that ever was. And
he's a good boy. He's a real good boy.
From there, we've got Moonglum in our counselor role to be a support to the entire team, a vision of humor and a really special help for Elric. And then lastly, we've got Fafhrd to really be buddies with Conan and just a general support and to kind of fulfill that Lord of the Rings role of singing songs.
He holds like push-up contests.
Yes, you got to have songs.
Singing songs and doing that whole thing. So I mean, with the characters I have assembled, I see this as a very classic sword and sorcery story.
Absolutely.
Just the novel kind of meteor version of that. I think we go over the pass of Caradhras and Yennefer gets us through. Where
she fights Saruman. Yeah.
Well, first she battles Saruman, but also Yennefer's magical abilities are a little more. They're not better than Gandalf's, but they are maybe more robust than what we at least see Gandalf use, and also less restrained.
Yes, 100%.
So she's just going, and for better and for worse, she's like gonna just get us through that.
She has zero fucks.
No, she doesn't care. So we get through that, and we get to the other side. We still probably end up going through Lothlorien, and then we head down as a crew without the Fellowship ever splitting through the marshes. And then I do think with Conan, we're probably having to muster an army at some point. But I do think we're probably banging on the door of the Black Gate with Conan having assembled an army at some point.
Of who knows what.
Of who knows what.
Just things to
and
fight.
We're going to do it. And
I think he kills the king of the Easterlings.
The king of the Easterlings.
And takes over their army and just marches right into the gate.
We need a rune blade. Well, and I feel like Stormbringer probably can kill a Ringwraith. I know we maybe need a barrel white sword.
Blood and souls for my Lord Ariok. Blood and souls.
Have to figure out.
That's an interesting question.
That's some things I don't know there.
Still.
I mean, can he call them the Chaos Lords?
Yeah,
I don't think so. Not in this universe.
That's a good question. So basically, no magic for him.
I mean, he could probably beat the Witch King though. Your Witch King rivals right there.
Yeah, I think so. So either way, we're doing that. And then I've got a few ideas. I do think if Conan gets to the Mount Doom, he's throwing it in. I do believe that, but I also believe that if for some reason Conan were to tragically fall, Fafhrd will pick it up and finish the deal. That's what
I like.
So
that.
Poetic.
Especially, I don't know that he would have at the beginning of the quest, but I think that by the time they get to the end,
when they get to the end,
if his brother Conan falls, he's gonna finish it.
And I think there's
Yennefer would finish it also.
There is an awkward love triangle between Balor, Iden, and Fafhrd probably. And I hate that
most definitely.
I hate that even would happen, but it feels true.
Wait. Honestly, though, the biggest benefit of that
is actually sort of a weird love triangle in Wizard Knight. She's obviously
but bro, side. If you've got the love triangle, like they aren't thinking about the ring anymore. They're thinking about like Yennefer's pants. Like at that point, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about Yennefer.
They're thinking about life. They're thinking about
I'm just
life
saying,
and love and all the things that you destroy the ring for.
That is probably the worst thing. Is there may be, and there might even be a love square where there's Yennefer
We've got an obtuse like a sort of object here.
Yennefer for sure like is into Macwin.
She's into Macwin. She's into Conan. She's into Fafhrd.
Yes. But that's genius because if you got your mind on that, you're not thinking about power of the world.
Yeah, that actually is going to be a big stress relief for everybody.
Yes. And stress causer, but distraction from like the evil. It's a lesser evil.
Yeah, but I think
this is wild. This is absolutely sword and sorcery.
It is. It's very sword and sorcery.
Lesser
that's
evil.
what I feel, and that's why because I can imagine the story, I can see it. I feel like we get the job done.
It's like if Rosie went with the hobbits.
I do feel like because Conan doesn't die in any of the Robert Howard stories. I do feel like
gets hurt a lot.
Maybe this is the way.
Maybe
Conan,
this is the way.
This is maybe the way Conan goes out. And then I do feel like Fafhrd.
Maybe Conan dies killing Sauron.
Maybe literally is killing Sauron, but the ring's still there.
He has no body though. That
doesn't
doesn't check out.
And or Gilf. Gilf might destroy the ring.
Gilf could do it.
The only way Conan beats him is if Sauron actually gets the ring.
Because Gilf is everybody's best friend, but Gilf would only talk to Conan.
I think that by the end he would probably talk to Fafhrd and Mac. I think by the end he would talk to everybody.
But just about everybody.
Except Yennefer, because Yennefer would have that weird thing that she does with like, I don't know, he won't talk to me. She's always like that.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, I love it. So we've got heroic fantasy and sword and sorcery here.
Yes.
All right, Sam.
All right,
Samwise, tell us.
I love my fellowship. It is definitely, it's not what you'd expect.
No,
because I'm playing the game here. So, my ring bearer is a horse, and the thing about animals is they're very predictable. They're easily manipulated, but they don't have the motivations of mankind. They don't have any motives other than animal primitive instinct. So
how does this conversation go at the?
I'm not there.
No.
Calm it down.
Okay.
Calm it down.
Elrond's like, Shield, you want to take the ring?
What? He's like, I will take the ring to Mordor. So that's where. So it's a bit twofold here.
Is there a backup?
Here, hold on. Let him go.
Okay, sorry.
Listen, okay. So Shield is my ring bearer. I'll circle back to answer that. My champion is Druss because Druss symbolizes the epitome of what everyone wants to become and wishes they were. And then Druss is also circling back to be like, I am who I still am, even though I'm not really allowed to be right now. And that is a champion mentality. Like, I will fight against all odds. My warrior is Ananias because he's pretty sick. My axe, that's literally it.
Hey, you're not wrong. You're absolutely correct.
My axeman is Alcyon because he's a giant with an axe, which is like,
and not just any axe either. He's got the Starstone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, overpowered in all the axeman ways you can be. My archer is Cywin, which is sweet. She throws knives, which is not a bow and arrow, but like relatively ranged, which will make sense later. My mage is Urienbaki because they will listen to what everyone has to say and kind of do that. And, they might do some other stuff on the side, but like it doesn't like really isn't a huge consequence to everyone. They won't serve the Dark Lord. They might just like, get him breakfast or something. nothing crazy.
They do definitely go. They show up and talk to Sauron. Yeah, they definitely do go talk to Sauron.
They would never say.
Kind of the Gollum role.
They'll go to Sauron. They're like, hey bro, what's up? Anyways, yeah, things are crazy, right? Anyways, I gotta go. Like they'll like they'll mess around with them, but also with that provide intel, and that's great. Like we love a good fake spy. My counselor is Skaflock because him and Shield are totally in on this whole thing together. Like, Skaflock is the one who is like telling Elrond, I think we should have an animal carry it because they won't be corrupted.
Okay.
So Skaflock is like the low-key pseudo ring bearer.
Is this because Skaflock's learned from burying the broken sword?
Skaflock has learned from his encounters with evil from his father in Elfhelm.
Yeah.
He knows he knows that the limitations of the ring of power are boundless. It is the one ring that can control the whole multiverse. So Skaflock knows a thing or two from his elf daddy, and when he's talking to this new elf daddy, Elrond, he's like, "Listen, I got this whole plan. If we put it underneath the horse's saddle, We will make it all the way. So Scaflock's got this low-key plan. Only him and Elrond and Shield know, but Shield's a horse. So the other animal I have here, another animal, is another horse, Cloud. This one can fly and is kind of magical and supernatural, which is not good for Bear in the Ring because any magic horse is going to have some opinions. So we don't want that. And then we got a wild card as a gray ape. I like to think that this gray ape is literally tranquilized most of the ride. By Uri and Baki, part of their duty, which is delegated to them, is to keep this gray ape under wraps unless called upon, because you never know when you're going to need a Hulk to just like bust in and mess up things. I mean, the stakes are high. They're going to Mordor. So, got that. Gray ape is there. Uri and Baki, that's part of their job. As they're traveling, they are riding horses. They're pretty fast the whole time. Alcyon is like, Simon's on his shoulders, so they're skipping around. They're going real fast. Ananias, he just gets tired.
That actually does. Yeah, Ananias and Alcyon are.
Yeah, Ananias. Ananias is the slowest one, but he's
in
keeping
Faithful
up.
in the
He's
Fallen,
keeping up.
the giants run at the same pace that horses are galloping.
That's what I'm saying. So we got fast ass horses, and so here's the thing: we're not gonna go the mountain because we got these fast animals. Also, low key, I got Cloud and I got Shield. So Shadowfax is like, "What's up with these horses in my land?" He comes. He's like, "Bro, I can hook you guys up." They're talking horse. Right?
I don't know. It sounds like we're about to start adding extra parts to your fellowship here.
All I'm saying,
I will say though,
I don't think the Lord of Horses doesn't notice a flying horse that comes into his realm.
You're not wrong.
Shield is a cool horse. Like Cloud is an insane horse.
The ring alone, Shadowfax is like, "What's up with that?" So I'm telling you, Shadowfax rolls up with his horse crew, and he's like, plausible. "You got any extra load to carry?" They go charging through the Gap of Rohan. No qualms. They're super fast. They got like all these distractions going on. They get in there. They freaking get the Rohirrim. They get Theoden. They get him out of his like whole slumber with Grima. They charge Isengard. They charge it.
Okay.
They just go straight there because the trees know what's happening when the horses are talking. So Shadowfax, Lord of Horses, he gets around. They go fast. They get all of them. They go ahead and take out Isengard. They muster the Rohirrim.
I do think Uri and Baki can help with the trees too.
Also, I forgot to say this. Uri and Baki, right. They're scouting. They're scouting ahead. They're out there talking in the forest. They're talking to all the rivers and everything. They're getting things ready. They go to Isengard. They totally take out. So Saruman didn't even get his Uruk-hai. Like, not even ready. Oh, wow. Half of the forest, not even destroyed because they didn't waste time, like, walking for so long. They're just running so fast.
That actually...
It tracks time, like, because they walk forever because they're walking. These are horses that are fast. They got Shadowfax, his whole crew. They're, like, taking turns riding. Alcyon's just jogging. They're getting him fruit and stuff to stay hydrated. Anyways, meanwhile, somehow we're carrying the gray apes.
The gray ape is running around.
No, he's tranquilized. They got to carry him.
Or they have him just in a different dimension.
That's right. Or Uri and Baki are like just checking him out into like Elfheim till they can bring him back to the multiverse. Anyway, so they go through. They get all the Rohirrim. They go straight up. They go straight up to Minas Tirith. Osgiliath does not get conquered. They get those dudes. They're just quick
because they're there
real quick.
Wow,
they're like so it's like Lord of the Rings, but fast paced. So they have all the strength of everyone, no other fights, anything. They have one fight at the Black Gate. Meanwhile, the Black Gate's happening. Alcyon and Cywin sneak up through Shelob's lair. Alcyon can totally take out a giant spider.
Okay.
He kills a giant spider.
I mean, Sam does it, so it's possible.
Scaflock, he goes up that way. Scaflock, he parts from Shield for a moment. While the Black Gate's happening, there's a moment where Druss goes out and all eyes are fixed on Druss. All eyes are fixed on him because that's what he does, right? He's like, this is Druss. While that's happening, Shield and Cloud just sneak right through him. They come through. Scaflock comes down from the mountain. He jumps on Shield's back. They go charging up the mountain. Charging up Mount Doom. Okay. Nothing's in the way. All eyes on Druss. All right? They get up to the top. They get inside there, and then Shield just suddenly knows what he was meant to do. He just bolts and he jumps. He jumps into the lava.
Oh shit!
He sacrifices himself. Shield. That was his whole shield of the humanity. His whole name. Everything.
Wow.
And then Scaflock sheds a single tear for Shield.
Wow.
And never got corrupted because Shield carried the burden the whole time.
Wow. Damn. Wow. What a beautiful ending.
Okay.
Epic.
One follow-up question for everybody, and I've got an idea for me.
what happens when Gollum shows up? Because Gollum's not a part of any crew at the beginning. Gollum just shows up.
Okay, you go. I got my idea. But.
And I could say, because
That's interesting.
Because I think Gollum shows up and then Conan just kills him immediately.
What is this thing? Dead.
Oh, God. What is that?
Did you guys see that? Ew.
That's exactly
What matter of imp
it's
was
like,
this?
It's like opposite Frodo, but yeah.
Did you see that tiny hairless gray ape?
It didn't have the moment for Gandalf say sometimes it's mercy not to take him. Like, oh no, he just
killed him.
the life is gone. The life is gone.
I think that Corbin
Corbin hangs out. Corbin
tries to
with
help.
him. Yeah,
Gollum for sure.
Corbin
Okay.
definitely hangs out
For
with
me,
Gollum.
this is the reason I had the gray ape.
It just fucking eats Gollum.
Yeah. So suddenly Gollum rolls in and Ringbacher are like, release the gray ape.
Also, if you're on horses the whole time, Gollum might not catch up.
Yeah, actually, the speed that you're
so fast,
that you're
we're
going,
going quick.
Gollum is in the dust.
Because he finds him in Moria, and also you don't go through Moria.
Yeah. I need to track back. My gray ape definitely has to come out when Druss comes out too. Like a lot of distractions, so Shield can just like charge through.
Yeah.
I need a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Just,
I do think
Uri and Baki drop him into the middle of the orc horde
like a berserker
in front
sort of thing.
there's a similar energy too, where when Druss shows up at the Black Gate, Sauron definitely thinks Druss has the ring.
right, and
Yeah,
he's
for
gonna
sure.
take him down because
Yeah.
Druss is the
And
legend.
he's like, they definitely didn't give the ring to a horse.
That's what I'm saying. Why would they give it to a horse? The horse is just running away. He's scared. It's like, nah, bro. He's carrying the one ring to rule them
Oh my
all.
God. All right. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed listening to this as much as we've enjoyed playing this game. Again, we'll post up in the show notes our fellowships. We'll post up a link or something to the list that we were going off of if you want to make your own.
Any big snubs before we wrap up? Did anybody get snubbed?
Sorry, sir.
I mean,
Because Mononon got snubbed, I think.
yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Other than that,
I think
I
so.
think
But
we're-
I think
Otherwise, it was pretty fair.
And Garsek got snubbed too.
I don't.
I
I
would
feel
have
like
included it, but I wasn't allowed.
I mean, there's a lot of characters. From
Listen,
Faithful
I
and
had a
Fallen.
whole story with
Yeah,
Garsek
sure.
There's
involved.
a lot of characters. Veritas could have gone in there. Gar,
Absolutely.
Mouse Sack.
Coralin, Halion. Like there's plenty of characters.
Dandelion,
I
he
agree.
could have been
Yeah.
fun.
So yeah, we'll have our lists. We'll have the full list posted up.
Craft, he could have
If
done
you
things.
enjoyed this, leave us a comment. Tell us what your fellowship is. Tell us whose fellowship you think actually gets the job done. Tell us whose fellowship definitely doesn't get the job done. And leave us a like and a comment. We love you guys. I'm Steven.
I'm Daniel.
Sam,
Namari, everybody. Good night.
Thanks, y'all.
my fellowship makes it.